Hello everyone and welcome to a new episode of Echo-Based Gaming. In this episode we will go over the live of this week, the pre-release and the store showdown preview.
Yeah.
And again, as usual, talk about all the cards that they released in the meantime.
Yeah.
So, let's start.
Yeah, let's start with the cards.
Okay.
So the first card that we are going to talk about is a ground unit, Bendu, which is a double vigilance aspect, 6 cost, with a stat line of 4/7, and the traits force and creature. It has sentinel, and on attack, the next non-hero, non-villain card you play this phase costs 2 less.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
The ability is really, works well with the lore. He is true neutral.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think a nice design for a nice character, in the lore.
Yeah. Also the double vigilance aspect is in line with the lore, of course. He's not a heroism or a villainy cards. Like you said, his ability works great with, I think, single aspect cards, which are obviously not hero or villainy. And so I think it's a card like this is actually great for those, one cost aspect cards. You get a discount of 2 for the next card you play. So I think great character, a great card for the double vigilance deck.
Yeah.
And a great character for a double vigilance aspect card, I would say.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next card is actually spoiled by Nelson All Over Cards on YouTube. And it is the Forces With Me. It's an event, a 4-cost vigilance heroism, with the ability choose a friendly unit and give 2 experience tokens to it. If you control a force unit, also give it a shield token, and you may attack with the chosen unit.
Okay, so it does a lot, actually, the card. A typical heroism vigilance card, I would say. Shielding.
If it's a force unit.
If it's a force unit.
Yeah, works well with Cherut, the leader, of course.
Yeah.
Like the art suggests. Yeah, I think you only play this event when you control a force unit, obviously, because just 2 experience tokens and attacking with a unit is not worth the 4 resources. No. But the added shield that you get when you play it and you control a force unit is actually really nice. Also because this card allows you to attack with that unit. Yeah. So preventing all the damage that the unit receives during that attack with the shield is what makes this card worth the 4 resources, I would say.
Yeah. And you can use it on the leader, Cherut leader.
Yeah.
It's not a non-leader unit that has we target.
It just needs the force trait.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can also play it with Bendu. Yeah, for instance. So a nice event, I would say. So the next card that they also spoiled was the Escort Skiff, another ground unit, a 4-cost command, with a stat line of 4/4 and the traits Underworld, Vehicle, Speeder. And the ability, while you control another command unit, this unit gains ambush.
Okay.
So we actually have seen some other units that do something if you control another unit with the corresponding aspect.
Yeah.
And I think, like all those other units, it's a great unit when you meet this requirement. If you don't meet the requirement, it's not worth the 4 resources.
No, I
Just
agree.
for a 4/4 body, it's a little bit weak.
Yeah.
But when you meet the requirement and it actually also gets ambush, then it's actually a nice card, I would say.
Yeah, and I think there is definitely enough decks in Command that will play this, as both heroism and villainy have a trooper deck. So I think it will see play.
Yeah, it's not a hard
requirement.
Yeah, it's not a hard requirement to fulfill.
No.
And I think, like I said, with all the other cards that work similar to this one, if you meet the requirement, it's actually a strong card. If you don't, there's no reason to play this. Yeah.
So it's a nice card, but has to be timed well.
Yeah. So the next card is another ground unit, which was spoiled by Geek Bessois. It's a French website. And it's Rook, another ground unit, a 5-cost command villainy, with a stat line of 3/6 and the Imperial trait. It has the shielded keywords, and when this unit deals combat damage to a non-leader unit while attacking, defeat that unit.
Yeah. Very strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially in combination with the shield. It can just attack for basically for free, not receiving any damage back.
Yeah.
And defeating a large body from your opponent.
Yeah, it's a little bit similar as Death Touch with Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
But one difference is that Death Touch also works while defending, and this is only on attack.
Yeah.
So you actually want to time this unit correctly, either give it ambush, so it can melee attack, or play it when your opponent cannot attack the unit during that similar turn. Because if you play it, they come in exhausted. And if your opponent just targets Rook, you don't get anything out of his ability because he isn't able to attack in the same turn that you play him.
Yeah.
So either give it ambush or play it at the end of your round, so it's ready to attack the next round.
Yeah.
So timing is crucial for a card like this. A nice stat line, especially when you combine it with his ability. So it is Star Wars, so I always look at the lore, and Rook works in the lore with Tron, of course.
Yeah.
So I think he is quite good in a Tron deck, because if he's on top of your deck and you reveal him, you can exhaust an opponent's unit that costs 5 or less. I think 5 is a decent amount of resources that you want to see when you use the Tron ability.
Yeah.
So obviously it's not a specific combo, but I think it works decent enough.
Yeah, but for now I would say go double cunning with Tron.
Yeah, but yeah, it is an option.
It is an option, of course.
Yeah, and also what is not to overlook with Rook, I think, is the Imperial trait.
Yeah.
There are a lot of cards that actually refer to the Imperial trait, so to boost it or do something special with it. So I think that's nice that this unit also has the Imperial trait.
Yeah.
And not the Fringe trait, for instance.
Yeah, I think it would do well in the Imperial Trooper deck.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So they also revealed the next card, Gamorrean Guards, another ground unit, 4-cost Cunning, with a stat line of 4/4 and the trait Underworld. With the ability, while you control another Cunning unit, this unit gains Sentinel.
Okay.
So really similar to the Escort Skiff, a 4 with a 4/4 body. And I think the same applies to the Gamorrean Guards. If you meet the requirement, it's actually strong.
Yeah.
If you don't, there's no reason to play it.
No.
And I do think that the Sentinel works really well on this unit. Not only in the lore, you know, the Gamorrean Guards, but also you have a 4/4 body with Sentinel is actually quite good.
Yeah.
And if the Gamorrean Guards had printed the Sentinel keyword printed on them without this requirement, I don't think that they would have the 4/4 body, or they would cost more resources.
Yeah.
So now to have the 4/4 body with Sentinel for a 4-cost Cunning unit is actually pretty nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this unit is especially strong in Draft and Sealed.
Yeah, but also in Premier, I think.
Yeah, I agree. In Premier, it's nice. It fills a spot where Cunning doesn't have a lot of Sentinel.
For instance, yeah.
So it is a nice card. But yeah.
And I think if you play Jabba the Hutt, for instance, you definitely want to play this card.
Yeah.
Because Jabba wants to stay on the board as long as possible to get the tricks at a discount. And the Gamorrean Guards are a great unit to protect Jabba.
Yeah.
Not only in the lore, but also now on the board.
Yeah.
And it's Cunning only, so like you said, it's great in draft. So you can also hire the Gamorrean Guards if you are a hero deck, which is really nice to protect your important units. So yeah, a nice card, and especially with Jabba, I think. The next card is another ground unit, Base Malbus, a 4-cost Vigilance with a stat line of 2/5 and the Fringe trait. He has the Grid keyword, and while you have the initiative, this unit gains Sentinel.
Okay. Yeah, I think as a 4-cost, it's a little too expensive for what he does. The stat line of 2/5 is bad, I would say, for 4. Grid is nice, and also his ability is okay.
I think the combination of Grid and Sentinel is powerful.
Yes, but it's occasional Sentinel, so you have to time him well.
Yeah, that's true. I think that's why the conditional Sentinel is actually really nice to play around. For instance, you play him, he tanks a little bit of damage. when you have the initiative, and then your opponent takes the initiative. So now you have a unit with damage counters on him, so he becomes stronger, but he loses the sentinel, so your opponent doesn't have to attack him. And maybe they think that there are better targets on the board to attack now, or just your base, of course. So they forget about base, and now you just have a nice unit on the board with a lot of attack value.
Yeah.
So I think it's nice to play around the sentinel with the initiative, and it's definitely interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So I do think that by the time you can play him, your opponent has enough units on the board to be able to deal with him. So I don't think that he can make use of his grid in the most effective way.
Yeah.
That
is
it
true.
only has 5 health, so yeah, I think he will die too quickly.
Yeah, it depends on the board, of course,
Yeah.
and the state of the game. The timing is important. Do you play him on a turn where it has Sentinel, or do you play him on a turn where you don't have the initiative, so he doesn't come into play as a Sentinel? I think that is what you want. Play him on a turn you don't have the initiative.
Of course, when you can give him a shield, then it's better.
Yeah.
But then there's also another card that you need. So there's a lot of things necessary to make this card work properly, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a tricky card to play, and I agree that the timing is really important for a card like this. Especially, like you said, the combination of Sentinel and Grid is really strong, but if you play him on a turn where you have the initiative and he immediately gains Sentinel, I think I agree with you that he probably will receive too much damage. But then again, you can time him to play him at the end of your turn, so there are ways around it.
Yeah.
But it's nice to have another Sentinel in Vigilance. Works well with the Chirrut leader, of course, that you want to protect. I do think what is funny is that he is Vigilance only. And what is funny is that I think that he is better in a Director Krennic deck that cares about units that are damaged to give them another +1/+0. Of course, I still have to test it. I don't know for sure, but that was just my first thought when I read this card. But definitely an interesting card. Great art, by the way. It's the same artist as the Short Trooper, for instance, which is also nice art. So yeah, overall, I think a decent card, and we'll just have to wait and see how powerful it really is and how effective it really is. Yeah. So another card that is a similar theme as base is the Guardian of the Wills, which is another ground unit, 2-cost Vigilance with a stat line of 2/2 and the Force Fringe trait. And the ability, the first upgrade you play on this unit each round costs 1 less.
Okay. I think the ability is very nice, especially in combination with my mind immediately goes to the Jedi lightsaber.
Yeah, also because it's a Force unit.
Because he is a Force user, and the Jedi lightsaber is one of the strongest upgrades, in my opinion.
So far, yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's a nice card, because it only costs 2.
Yeah.
It makes upgrades cheaper. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think a cheap Force user is always nice. Yeah. Force is a powerful trait. Cards refer to Force to give the events discount, for instance, like Force Throw or other cards. And having access to a Force unit on the first turn is actually really nice. Yeah. And especially in combination with a lightsaber, works really well. You get the discount and the trigger of the Force units, so I think that's really powerful. I do think because this unit works with upgrades, I think that we will see the stuff of these Guardians.
Okay.
That was just a thought that I had.
Maybe Chirrut stuff?
Yeah, for instance, they are Force users, or they are Force sensitive, but they don't wield lightsabers. No. So that's why I think that we will see their stuff as an upgrade.
Yeah.
Okay, so they also revealed a second card, the Strafing Gunship, which is the space unit. So the first one this episode, 4-cost Cunning, with a stat line of 3/4, and the traits Underworld Vehicle Fighter. And the ability, this unit can attack units in the ground arena. While this unit is attacking a ground unit, the defender gets -2/-0.
Okay, yeah. So the first card that can cross the play areas?
With attacks.
With attacks, yeah. It's Very interesting, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, it is definitely an interesting card. Of course, like we all know, Star Wars Unlimited is a 2-lane game. So we have 2 arenas. And thus far, only units could attack when they were in the same arena. But now we have the first card that actually, like you said, can attack units that are on the other arena. So that's really interesting. I do think that we're going to see the other version of a card like this. So a grounded cannon that can shoot into space.
Yeah.
I think it is in Star Wars lore, so I think that's also a card that we are going to see. It is a powerful unit, I would say, with a powerful ability, especially also because of the -2, -0.
Yeah.
So he doesn't receive that much damage back, which is also lore-wise great because handguns do not penetrate the shields of a gunship or a spaceship.
Not as easily.
Not as easily, yeah. So that's why they are less powerful against ships. Nice art also. You do have to take Sentinel in mind.
Yeah, Tyler explained it on Twitter.
Yeah, how Sentinel works. So if there is a Sentinel unit in space, you do have to attack the Sentinel unit, and you cannot attack a ground unit. When there is only a Sentinel on the ground, you can actually choose, because Sentinel only works against units in the same arena. So that's something to know.
Yeah.
So this is also a nice unit to get around Sentinels on the ground, for instance. Hopefully we are going to see more cards like this. So like I said, a cannon, for instance, or another gunship. So nice to know that we are getting cards like this, and already in the first set. So the next card is another ground unit, a 5-cost double command, General Krell, with a stat line of 5/4, and the trait Force Jedi Republic. So another Republic card. And each other friendly unit gains when defeated, you may draw a card.
Yeah, I do like that he's double command. So as you might have seen in the Clone Wars, he betrayed his own clones.
Yeah. He switched sides.
Yeah. Also his ability reflects that, I would say.
Yeah.
So it's a well-designed card in terms of the lore.
Yeah, I agree. And also that he is double command, another aspect, because he was considered one of the better generals in the Republic Army. So it's really nice that they choosing this character for the double command aspect.
Yeah.
So yeah, he works well in I think in a swarm deck. So with a lot of units on the board to get multiple triggers of his ability.
Yeah.
So command can also go tall with not a lot of units on the board, but they are just beefy units. Then obviously General Krell doesn't work that well, because you want units that get defeated to draw cards. And so yeah, if you have a swarm deck, I think that General Krell is definitely an auto include.
Yeah.
And when we get our Clone Wars sets, we will definitely see a clone deck with clone troopers, and then he only becomes stronger, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. So a nice card, and also great art. So the next card is an event, 1-cost command heroism, the Rebel Assault with the trait Rebel Tactic. With the ability attack with a rebel unit, it gets +1/+0 for this attack. Then attack with another rebel unit, it gets +1/+0 for this attack.
Yeah, an amazing card, just for one.
For one resource, yeah.
It's very powerful. This was revealed during the live, by the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, for both Leia and the Hera command, or the leader.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. The first thing that you think about when you read this character is, of course, Leia, which cares about...
You do.
Yeah, which cares about a lot of rebel units. But like you said, Hera cares about the Spectre units, and
Which
they are
are
also
all
rebels. Yeah. But it works also with the Leia ability. So a little bit of action cheating. I know a lot of people get a little bit anxious when you say the word action cheating, because they get deja vus from Star Wars Destiny. But their action cheating was completely different, and you could actually do a lot of damage with action cheating without with preventing your opponent to deal with it. So roll out your dice and then immediately resolve them. I do think that it works different in Star Wars Unlimited, and action cheating isn't that strong. Because yes, you can attack with 2 units, but the units have to be already on the board. So your opponent knows what's going to happen, because it's not, here is my strong unit and it immediately attacks. So it's a little bit less powerful action cheating in Star Wars Unlimited.
But still powerful.
But still powerful, and that's why a card like this is really strong.
Yeah.
And also because if you have a trooper unit or a swarm unit, and it's really hard to get the initiative because you have a lot of units to activate. And with cards like this or Leia's ability, you actually have a chance to get initiative, to claim the initiative for yourself. So I think that's why you want to play the card like this in those decks.
Yeah.
So I would say if you play a Command Heroism deck, for one resource, I would always play this card. It just depends, do you have the room for a card like this in your deck?
I would make the room, to be honest.
So the next card that was revealed during the live is another event, I Had No Choice, which is a 7-cost Cunning Villainy with the Trick Tactic, so it works with Jabba. Choose up to 2 non-leader units. An opponent chooses one of those units and return that unit to its owner's hand, and put the other on the bottom of its owner's deck.
Yeah, in one of our first episodes, I think, maybe the second or third one, I briefly discussed the art that I saw in a live.
Yeah, it was on a poster.
Yeah, amazing art.
Yeah, both the Stormtroopers and Lando look great.
Yeah. It is an expensive card though.
Yeah.
7.
Yeah.
But yeah, it removes 2 cards. Well, your opponent gets them back, but still, it removes them from the battlefield.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well timed. It's a very powerful card.
Yeah, and you can actually send a lot of powerful units back to your hand and your opponent's deck.
Yeah.
So I think it's really easy to remove units with a combined value of more than 7 resources back to your opponent's deck and hand.
Yeah.
So I think that's really powerful.
And then it becomes value.
Yeah, and secondly, I think there are not a lot of cards in the first set that lets you shuffle your own deck. So putting a card at the bottom of a deck is actually, you know that your opponent is not going to see that card for some time.
No.
Depending on how many cards they already drew, of course. But that's nice. And yes, it is expensive, but I think if you look at a card like Waylay, which is send a unit back to your opponent's hand, so actually this is a double Waylay. But instead of sending the second card back to the hand, you send to the bottom of the deck. And then for that 1 resource extra, I think that's what it's sending it to the bottom of your opponent's deck is more powerful than sending it back to their hand.
Yeah.
So I would pay that extra resource to get one of those cards at the bottom of their deck.
Yeah. Yes, but it has to be simultaneously. So it has to be in the same turn.
Yeah.
Waylay you can do twice whenever you feel like.
Yeah, but just to talk about the value of this card. Yeah, and it is a trick. So it works with Jabba. So Jabba can pay this for 1 less.
Yeah.
So if you play Jabba, then this is, I think, an auto-include, because it is a really powerful trick. Like you said, it is expensive, but it is worth the resources, especially if you think that you can send 2 Star Destroyers back to the hand and
if
deck.
They have them.
Yeah, but just to...
In theory, you can.
Yeah, in theory, or the Darth Vader unit, things like that.
Yeah.
I think it's really powerful. Removing 2 units from your opponent's board can actually be really...
It can swing the game in your favor.
Yeah, it can swing the game in your favor.
Yeah.
And you can move 2 immediate threats.
Yeah.
So a nice card, I would say. Yeah. So then the next card is another event. The Emperor's Legion, which is a 2-cost command villainy, Imperial supply trade. With the ability, return each unit in your discard pile that was defeated this phase to your hand.
Nice.
I think a powerful card. Yeah, and what is powerful about this card is it works with trooper decks. So you just get a lot of units back to your hand, but it can also work with decks where you go tall. So for instance, if you play Darth Vader, which I still think is the strongest unit in the game, your opponent is super happy that he defeated Darth Vader. You play this card, and now Darth Vader is immediately back in your hand, and you can play him again.
Yeah.
I think that's what makes this card so strong.
Yeah. But it's also very powerful with the next card that we're going to talk about.
Yeah, our last card.
Our last card.
That was revealed today.
And we talked about it in the last video. What we were thinking that would be the last leader that we're going to see. Yeah, and you were right.
Yes, our last leader is Emperor Palpatine, command villain, with the ability action, pay 1 resource, tap Emperor Palpatine, defeat a friendly unit, and then deal 1 damage to a unit and draw a card.
Okay.
So then you can deploy him when you have 8 resources on the board, and then he deploys with a stat line of 410, and the traits Force, Imperial, Sith, and Official, with the ability, when deployed, take control of a damaged non-leader unit. And on attack, you may defeat another friendly unit. If you do, deal 1 damage to a unit and draw a card.
Okay, so he does a lot when he's deployed.
Yeah.
Also the most expensive requirement in resource.
Yeah, to do his epic action, you need 8 resources on the board.
But you also get the highest health value for it in the leader.
Yeah. Yeah, nice stat line for it then.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk about all his abilities.
Yeah. So on his non-deployed side, you do need to pay a resource, tap Palpatine, and defeat a friendly unit to do a damage and draw a card.
Yeah. That sounds like quite a lot that you have to pay.
Yeah.
But there aren't that many cards that draw you cards.
Yeah.
Which I think is powerful. So yeah, it's also worth a lot.
Yeah, and you deal a damage.
You deal 1 damage to a unit.
Yeah, but it's great to set up his deployed side because you can take control of one of those units.
Yeah.
So yeah, a really powerful leader. He, like you said, he deploys with the most amount of resources. So a late game leader. Yeah, but to me, he also feels like a final boss. Like if he drops on the board, he really makes an impact.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you want with a leader like Emperor Palpatine. So if you're able to deploy him and actually get something out of his abilities, then I think you always win the game.
Okay.
So I think that the struggle with a leader like this is, do you have enough time to make use of his abilities in a game?
I think so.
Yeah, it depends on against which deck you're playing.
True, but Command has enough tricks to get you more resources.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
A competitive leader.
Yeah, he's definitely a strong leader, but I just think that his weakness are if he's up against super aggro decks. So for instance, like Sabine. I think that he can struggle a little bit against those leaders, but that's also what's good, that he's not an auto-win against everything.
Yeah.
He has his weaknesses. And if your opponent is able to do so much damage to your base or to your strong units, that, like you said, on his non-deployed side, it's not the strongest leader. It's not the strongest ability. So if you cannot make use of his deployed side too much, then your opponent just was too quickly by defeating you.
Yeah.
But if you can deploy him, and if you do have the turns to make his ability work and get a couple of triggers out of him, then it's great leader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, as you said, like it's very powerful, but also has a weak side. I think that's a very
well balanced.
Yeah, but that's a trait that I see of much or often in Star Wars Unlimited. It almost feels like a bit of a rock paper scissors system, where certain decks are very powerful in some degree, but other decks can deal with them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's nice.
Yeah, and with the aspect rules of this game, I mean, Emperor Palpatine that's double command works completely different than an Emperor Palpatine that is aggro command, for instance.
Yeah.
So to talk more about the unit, when he deploys, you actually take control of a damaged unit from your opponent, and this can be a space or a ground unit. And with his undeployed side, you can actually prepare a strong unit to deal 1 damage. So 1 damage is enough, and then take control of that unit.
Yeah, that's actually what you want.
Yeah.
You want not too much damage on your on the unit that you take control over.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think that already is a really powerful ability. Because we have a card that also takes control of your opponents, but it costs a lot of resources. So to have it printed on a unit, on a leader like Palpatine is actually amazing.
Yeah.
And his on-attack ability, defeat a friendly unit and then deal 1 damage and draw a card, is also really powerful. And especially, like you said, we already seen some cards during this video or during this episode that cares about cards of friendly units that get defeated. Like, for instance, General Krell and the Emperor's Legion. So I think that's a great combo with Palpatine.
Yeah.
So he is an official, so also the Emperor's Royal Guard work with him, like you imagine, of course.
Yeah.
But so that's another great combo with Palpatine. When you deploy him and play the Emperor's Royal Guard, you get Sentinel units and they get an extra HP because Palpatine is on the board.
Yeah.
A really strong leader, I would say. I definitely want to try to build a deck with him.
Yeah.
I'm still not sure what combination of aspects would be the best for him.
I think double command.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to start with. It's also great for General Krell, of course.
Command.
Yeah. But there are a lot of options, and I'm definitely going to try them all and see what we end up with. Yeah, so right after FFG revealed Emperor Palpatine, Xander also tweeted like that he was desperate to talk more about this leader. So I think that already says enough, and that it was also really scary to play against. So I think that we'll just have to wait and see how powerful Emperor Palpatine really is, and how scary he really is. So like you said, there was also a live about the pre-release and the store showdown this week.
Yeah.
And
yeah, again, a nice live to see. So if you haven't seen it, definitely go check it out.
Yeah.
They started off with the pre-release kit.
Yeah, opened them.
They opened the kit.
Yeah.
It looked very nice. The box itself already looked nice and clean.
Yeah.
In there you get 6 packs.
For a sealed event.
And a deck box and tokens.
And the card divider.
The card divider and the promo?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Luke and Vader promo.
Yeah. So they are foil.
Yeah. Which was nice about those cards is that they are a different foil than the cards that you get in the booster packs.
Yeah. Sure.
So there are going to be different kinds of foiling for Star Wars Unlimited, which is nice.
Yeah, so all the promos have different foiling compared to what you get in the normal in the pack.
Yeah. And judge foiling is also different.
Yeah, so that was actually the next thing that I wanted to talk about. They talk more about the judge program. So there is a judge program, and they will also award judges with promos. And they looked even, in my opinion, even better. The judge stamp really stood out and was nice.
Yeah, it was gold.
Yeah.
And the foiling was also different.
Different from the normal promos.
Yeah. So that was really nice. And like they said in the live, they want to reward the judges for judging events because usually judges aren't allowed to play in those events. So they miss out on all the other promos.
Yeah.
So to compensate them, they get a little bit of an extra cool looking promo.
Yeah, yeah, definitely they are a little bit of the unsung heroes of the events, I would say.
Yeah.
So they definitely deserve this.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the pre-release we already knew a lot about. Of course, there was also a live about the pre-release already.
Yeah.
So all the information stayed the same. Yeah. So we are going to see the week before launch, there will be pre-releases across the world. They showed the box, like you said, opened it, and also opened 2 packs. And it was really fun to see that Xander opened a triple rare pack. So those are a thing. And that's because the hyperspace variants can be at different points in the booster pack. So if you're lucky, you can actually get a triple rare booster pack with 2 hyperspace in it. So that's really nice to know and exciting to open packs. And so that was nice.
Yeah, they also went over the event itself. So it will be a single game sealed event with 4 rounds of
4
voice,
rounds,
I would think.
That's because they don't want these events to take too much time.
Yeah.
There's also not a top promo, for instance.
No.
So you just get the pre-release kit with the promos inside, and then you just play for fun and to explore the new set.
Yeah.
And that's what pre-releases are all about. It's not to beat everyone.
Mm-hmm.
It's just to have fun and explore the new set.
Yeah.
So all sets will have pre-releases. I can't wait to play in our first pre-release.
Yeah.
We just have to wait a month.
Yeah. Yeah, then the Store Showdown.
Yeah. They were new.
They were new, yeah.
First time they talked about the Store Showdowns in depth.
Mm-hmm. So they mentioned that this will be an event which is held once in every release of a set.
Yeah.
In a period of a month.
Yeah, every store gets an opportunity to host one Store Showdown per set.
Yeah.
So depending on how many local stores you have, that many Store Showdowns you can attend.
Yeah.
So if you're lucky, you can actually go to a couple of them.
Yeah.
And like you said, there is one Store Showdown per set.
Mm-hmm.
So these are still casual events, but they are the biggest casual events that they have.
So this year?
Yeah. No, and just in the casual.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So the other one is weekly play.
Mm-hmm.
So the casual OP program are pre-releases, weekly play, and then the Store Showdowns,
Mm-hmm.
which are the biggest of the casual tier. And they will also be Swiss, also best of ones every round.
Mm-hmm.
So not best of threes, but I think best of ones is normal for casual games.
Yeah.
They are the biggest tournaments we get now,
Mm-hmm.
because we have to wait a little bit until the competitive events. So maybe they will feel a little bit more competitive now, but we'll just have to wait to get to the casual or to the competitive events.
Yeah.
And I think best of ones are standard for casual events.
Mm-hmm.
And they will be time limits of 25 minutes for one round.
Yeah. Then what they also showed was the prizes that you can win.
The participation promo?
So yeah, indeed, there is a participation promo, but there's also promos if you do well.
Yeah, of course.
So there is a top 8, top 4, finalist and winner promo. And these are alt arts,
Mace
Windu, which look amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Again, foil.
Yeah.
And they have a stamp of your placement. So
Yeah.
top 8, top 4, as I said, finalist and winner.
Yeah. Also judge promo.
Mm-hmm.
So the participation promo with a different foiling and the judge stamp.
Yeah.
So which was also really, really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like you said, I really liked the promo of Mace Windu. And what I also liked is that if you do well in this event, you can actually walk away with a playset.
Yeah.
So both finalists walk away with a playset of these promos.
Mm-hmm.
And actually the winner has an extra that he can just collect or give away or whatever he wants to do with it. Sell or...
I guess they will be quite some value.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Everyone has to see for themselves, of course, what they do with the extra promo. But just the fact that you can walk away with a play set of promos is amazing.
Yeah.
And is not really normal for tournaments.
No, you have to do well, of course.
Even if you get to top 4, you get 2 promos of the same card, so almost a play set.
Yeah.
And then if you go to the next Store Showdown, maybe you get the last one that you need.
Yeah.
But just the fact that they went for this distribution of promos, I really like. The promos themselves look amazing, but also, again, walking away with a play set feels really rewarding.
Yeah.
So that was actually the new information that we got from the Store Showdowns. So again, can't wait for those and to show up to those events. Then that was a little bit about the live.
Yeah. They shared the agenda for February, the lives.
Yeah.
So what's the next one?
The February 10th, there is actually a community celebration event for all the content creators from North America. So there will be a live stream for that event. So I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah, it's great to see what they have in store for everyone.
Yeah, and to celebrate the community already.
Yeah.
I think the community is very invested already. That FFG really appreciates that. It's very nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so hopefully, fingers crossed that the next community event there will also be content creators from Europe.
Yeah, who knows?
Who knows? But I think, like you said, just the fact that they are doing an event like this is already amazing.
Yeah.
And what Xander also told that everyone is free to share all their pools. So no one has to keep cards hidden that they are not ready to show. They just say that we are now ready to show every card that gets pulled out of booster packs, for instance.
Yeah.
It's only a month. And we need another 20-ish cards. So, but also showcases, for instance, that get pulled during that event, they can just share with the community. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
So the live after that is about the multiplayer rules.
Yeah.
So we finally get more information about multiplayer.
Yeah.
A nice format. A lot of people want to have more information about the multiplayer rules. It's fun to play at your local game store with friends.
Or just at home with friends. Like the Magic that we play is mostly Commander.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say that's a nice format to play casual, just at home with friends.
Yeah, and also to introduce people to the game.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's really nice that there is a multiplayer format, the Twin Suns, it's called. And we get more information during that live, which is February 14th. And then the last live in February is about the weekly play.
Okay.
So the other casual event with the prize packs that you can get by just participating during the event. So 3, I think, really nice lives ahead of us. And after the third live, it's close to the pre-release, actually. And then we can start open packs for ourselves.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so it's a lot to look forward to. 3 more lives and then the release.
The release, yeah.
So I think with that we can conclude this video. So if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment and subscribe. And see you next time.
Yeah, see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.